Welcome into the roundtable. I'm Brad Wakai. That is my co-host Tyson Gentry. We are breaking down Thursday Night Football, talking a little bit about Russell Wilson and Matt Ryan, and then of course getting into money making time for the weekend. But Tyson, let's just jump right in it, man, because I don't know what that was. 12-9. There's higher scoring baseball games. Army Navy's a higher scoring game. That's one of the worst games of football I've ever seen. And we're talking about an NFL team with supposed two franchise quarterbacks in Matt Ryan and Russell Wilson putting on that performance on primetime.
Well, they were franchise quarterbacks 5, 6 years ago. So I think that's kind of where, that stigma's living, dude. These guys suck. They both sucked today. The offenses sucked. That was peak Les Miles LSU football without the defense. That was
Yeah,
bad.
and you came on and said, man, if you don't like that, that's Iowa football,
You
baby.
don't
I'm
like
like,
Iowa football, man.
that's Saturdays in the Big Ten when it's negative degrees out, just 12-9. Okay, somebody came out with a victory. That was awful. We're going to dive in on this a little bit more, and we're going to dive in on Russell Wilson a little bit. But just as a Thursday Night Football reaction in general, that was just a bad product. The coaches, and I like Frank Reich.
It's
Man, oh
getting
man,
harder by the day, man.
it's getting harder by the day. That game plan was atrocious. You know your offensive line's horrible. You're starting a rookie left tackle who was in way over his head. How did it take that long to scheme that you need to get quick balls out? And all of a sudden, then Alec Pierce starts figuring out, and the offense finally looks good. Matt Ryan doesn't know when to throw the ball away. He knows he's getting pressure, so he runs back 10 yards. They continuously try to run the ball on early downs when they have no semblance of a run game, and they haven't had one all season with Jonathan freaking Taylor. So you're going to put in Philip Lindsay and just expect the same production. The game plan's awful. There's no adjustment in game. We're talking about the 32 best fucking coaching staffs in the world, supposedly, in the NFL, and they can't make adjustments on the fly. It's ridiculous.
It was bottom two today. What it looked like, man. It looked like two guys that are like, I don't want to lose my job. I don't want to lose my. I texted you this during the game. They were playing conservative offense on both sides, and it was like, for what? What's the downside? You throw a pick, a 40-yard return, and the other team punts it back. That happened in the middle. Like this was horrible, and the Deion Jackson disrespect from you today is just unreal. I thought he had an okay game. He looked fine, but it was like, what the fuck are we watching? And then Patrick Surtain's awesome, but you can't do anything to try to get Michael Pittman open. Like he was third read on some of these things. It's like if Alec Pierce wasn't open, the ball wasn't moving.
The tight ends have been good for the Colts all season. Don't target them. Very rarely get targeted. It's just sometimes it makes you scratch your head when you're watching these games. And there was just so many moments in time when it looked like the momentum had flipped. Here's a Matt Ryan interception. Okay, all right, finally time for the Broncos to go 3 and out. Okay, Colts, big stop. Here we go, offense, and it's a 3 and out. It's both these teams are very similar, where as soon as they get down into the red zone, they shit down their leg, and they just can't figure out what to do down there. And the Broncos, this has been a thing for now 5 games. I mean, that's their MO. As soon as they get down there, it's a joke. That field shrinks. It looks like they go super conservative, immediately start running the football. When how they get down there by spreading everything out, having creative routes, then all of a sudden you just revert back to let's just run the ball, and then hopefully Russell Wilson can make his magic when he hasn't been doing that all year. And then on the flip side for the Colts, I just don't understand what they're trying to do here with Matt Ryan. It looks like he's over his head. Honestly, for me, and he looks done. And we'll kind of get into this with the Colts a little bit. If I'm them, I take a look at Sam Ehlinger, and I know they win this game, and they're still in the mix, I guess. In the division race, sure, but Nick Foles isn't the answer. You got to see if Ehlinger can be the guy here, man. I don't know. I may be just overreacting because that game just pissed me off, and that may be a hot take, but I'm not quite sure if it is. I don't know if you can get worse than what Matt Ryan's doing.
No, but the coaching staff is looking. Although we don't have a lot of reason to be believing what Frank and the boys are looking at as the best product to put on the field, because this is 5 weeks now of really below average football, and one weird penalty against the Chiefs from being 1, 2, and 1 right now, or whatever it would be. on the season, or 1-3-1.
I think, yeah, 1,
I
3,
think
and
so.
1. Yeah.
Regardless, they suck. Okay, we came into this season. It was like, well, they're kind of the de facto pick to win the AFC South because we think the Jaguars are a year away. The Titans look like they're going to suck. The Texans are going to Texan. Kind of looks like the Colts suck, and it looks like the floor for this team is so much lower than people were pretending it was before the year because nobody watched Carson Wentz play football last year. It was just, oh, that guy sucks because of some viral clips of him doing some stupid shit. I guarantee you, everybody in that Colts locker room right now is like, damn, at least he could throw it 30 yards. At least there was some zip on the ball to the sideline. It was so bad. And Matt Ryan is running around like he's Johnny Manziel at Texas A&M right now, running 10 yards, like you said, 10 yards back into the backfield. That's never been his MO. Why is everything taking so long?
I don't know. I don't know. And that's the question. And we'll dive on that into the Colts. But let's just move right into, I think, the elephant on the wall here. And I don't even know if it is, or the elephant in the room here. I don't even know if it is an elephant in the room. And is Russ cooked? And all it was let Russ cook, let Russ cook. Oh, he's out of Seattle. He's finally going to cook. Well, it looks like he's the one that's been in the pressure cooker a little too long because he's been bad. I mean, really bad to start the season here. And I love Russell Wilson. I'm one of his defenders. I bang on the table saying how good this guy is, how good I think he's been. I thought coming into this season, hey, he gets a new opportunity with an offensive-minded guy, Nathaniel Hackett. We're going to see again kind of those crazy plays that we saw out of Russell Wilson. I'm sitting here saying I'm wrong. This guy's not a good quarterback right now. And if I'm saying that, that means he's been bad. I mean, like really bad. Because I love the guy. I think he's super talented still. But, I mean, he's missing reads. He's not accurate. He's overthrowing guys. And you know what the worst part about it all, Tyson? I know he kind of never, had that fired up personality like Brady, where he comes to the sideline, he looks super, super pissed off. Or, Rodgers has a little attitude. It looks like he doesn't care. Like, oh, okay, another 3 and out. Just kind of jogs off on the sideline. Okay, sits down and looks at the tablet. Like, you're getting paid $48 million. You just got extended. You're getting paid like the best quarterback in the NFL. It has to get better. Or else you just absolutely handicap this franchise. Everybody's going to look at you like you're just terrible. And there's just going to be some things circulating about Russell Wilson that I don't think he thought coming over when he made the move to Denver.
Well, you said it. It went from let Russ cook to damn Russ cooked really, really fast, man. And look, I've been the biggest Russell Wilson hater for like a decade now. And I didn't even see this severe of a drop off coming. There's always been things that he doesn't do well, but he's late on almost every throw, every read that he's making. He's a second behind, and we're 5 weeks into the season now. I know he didn't play preseason. That shouldn't be an excuse a month and a week into the season, right? I mean, we have a significant sample size now of the NFL season that says he's not good and this offense is bad. And you said creative routes earlier, but it was a lot of creative routes to throw to Albert O or Greg Dulcich or whoever 3 yards short of the sticks on 3rd and 7 because nobody's open. They might be creative, but they're not working. Something has to change. He loves Courtland Sutton, and that's awesome. And we knew that was going to happen. Courtland Sutton getting 12 targets a game is not a sustainable way for the Broncos to win football games because when things go bad, he looks for 14. The problem is that he is either on the other side of the field or Courtland is 20 yards down the field with 3 guys on him because everybody knows it's going to break down. It's going to him. Jerry Jeudy was picked like 10th in the draft. The dude has to be better. Everybody has to be better. Melvin Gordon, here's your opportunity. Here's your shot. 3 plays today, he looked above average.
I thought he was good tonight. I thought he was good tonight.
He had flashes, but he was really boring. The rest of it, much like the Broncos. It's 5 weeks of this where it's like, okay, this could work, and then that's the same shit again. They called 2 timeouts on the goal line. They had one, and the Colts had one, and that was the play that they came to the line of scrimmage with. Disgusting.
And KJ Hamler's wide open on the other side of the field. Like you said, he's forcing it in to the Colts' best defender in Stephon Gilmore, who just picked them off the previous possession to allow the Colts to go down and tie the football game and get it into overtime. Like you said, he's late, man. Like, that's your read. That's your 3rd read. As soon as you see those guys on that side of the field are covered, you have to switch back to the other side. And just didn't do it, forces one in there, incomplete, game over. Now you're sitting at 2 and 3.
Make it easier for him. How many times today were there drop-offs to Mike Boone, Melvin Gordon, Cortland Sutton, Jared Judy, whoever it was 4 yards to 15 a pop. Those didn't go backwards, and they only did it 5 times. They didn't move the ball outside of these plays, and when it's working, you have to keep going with it, and that's something Nathaniel Hackett obviously has not learned yet.
Right. And I think the other thing too, and on that last drive when they drove it down into the red zone, what was working, right? It was big play, it was big play action, huge dropbacks. Russell Wilson uh, able to step up and use his legs to get in the rhythm a little bit. I think if he's at this point in his career, when he's stationary just in shotgun, he's not a good quarterback. He's not Aaron Rodgers when he can just stand back there and just kind of fling it. And this is the Aaron Rodgers offense, right? This is what Nathaniel Hackett's bringing over. Hackett's got to kind of tweak this thing to Russell's strengths. I thought when they were under center and he has the ability to run off a play action or roll out or whatever it is, if his line's able to protect him, I thought that was when he was at his best tonight. Now, it's going to be tough, right? If Gordon continues to look like this, where he's not an explosive runner, where they don't have any explosive plays in the run game, that's going to limit your ability to run play action. But you still have to put your quarterback in the best position to succeed. It's clear Russell Wilson's not Aaron Rodgers.
Not even close.
Not even close. So you got to figure out a way to tweak that so that his production can at least be above what we're seeing through these first 5 weeks.
If you had Jared Goff being significantly better than Russell Wilson through 5 weeks of the season, you could have made a lot of money at some random offshore book because you would have been the only person on earth. And it's not even close right now. Like, if you look through Russell Wilson's stats and you compare him to everybody else, and I know stats don't tell the whole story, but you put the film on and it's worse. Like, it doesn't look better when you check the film. That's always been the thing with Russell. It's like, well, look at what he's doing. Like, the numbers might not look crazy, but look at what he's doing. And now he can't do that stuff. Or at least he's not doing it. And I don't know if that guy still lives there, man. I don't know if the crazy 30-second scramble throw it to Tyler Lockett guy is in there anymore. It sure doesn't look like it to me. It doesn't even look like the guy can make a throw rolling towards the sideline. Every single one ends up in the stand somewhere.
It's been really bad. He's going to have to figure this out quick, or else it's going to be a disaster. I mean, fans are leaving in overtime. Tyson.
There is no might be. This is a disaster.
Right.
They have 2 wins. They could have gone to 3 wins today and still been in the hunt for at least a wild card. This team is cooked. This is what it is. This is a team that can't score points.
Let's get into the Colts. So, I mean, a big win for the Colts, I think, in the grand scheme of things, right? Yes, it was ugly, but let's look at it, right? It's a short week. They go on the road and they pull out a victory. Not all wins in this league are gonna be sexy and pretty, like what the Chiefs did rolling down into Tampa and just blowing their doors off, right? A win's a win, whether it's by 1 or by 100. At the end, so let me just ask you, right? I mean, you said you don't think the Colts are any good. I tend to agree with that right now, especially with Taylor being hurt. But can the Colts build from it? We know they get better later into the season. Could this potentially be something that kind of tilts them and gets them on the right track?
We know they've gotten better in the second half of the last few seasons. I don't know if this team gets better. Like, Jonathan Taylor has always started slow, but the first couple weeks were really slow. And obviously Shaquille Leonard being hurt is huge. It doesn't matter. Like, all the things that we thought were strengths of this team coming into the season, we thought the defense was going to be good. Defense looked okay tonight. There wasn't a whole lot stopping them from looking great, right? So it wasn't like – I heard Kirk Herbstreit in the broadcast say, it's just been really good defense. It's like, kind of. When somebody runs directly into the back of a left guard and you get a tackle, now it's 2nd and 10, it's a lot easier to play defense. The Colts, much like the Broncos – you said inside the red zone, it's like once they get to midfield, this whole thing shrinks. There is no explosive playability with this offense. We've seen this now for 5 weeks. There is basically, you hope that 28 gets healthy and you hope he starts hitting his stride, because this is starting to feel like a Saquon Giants team more than it's feeling like an Indianapolis Colts team.
Let me say something about the Colts too. I think Jim Irsay's a loser as an owner. Like, the dude's just a flat out fucking loser. I mean, let's think about what he's done since he's taken over, right? Or since he's been in charge. His weightlifting buddy, well, yeah, DUI, all that. But I mean, from a football standpoint, he hired his weightlifting buddy, Ryan Grigson, to run his football team. He didn't address an offensive line that turned the best quarterback they've had since Peyton Manning into early retirement. So he goes and hires Frank Reich. That's his guy right after Josh McDaniels backs out. Chris Ballard's the GM. So they do the set these guys up for success. And I'm putting Ballard in here too. I think this guy stinks too.
You
They
can't say
never
that.
ever, yeah, you can't say that, right? Because the media loves him. He's good at the mic and he gives them a lot of good info. The guy stinks, man. I mean, he's not good. The team's gotten worse every single year since he's taken over. And I get it. He has like nice drafts. Where are these players now? I mean, the offensive line's gotten worse. They haven't upgraded. The quarterback position's gotten extremely worse. Just a rotating door, not helping out your head coach. And sure, maybe Frank Reich has things to do with that, but you scapegoated Carson Wentz last year, right? Jim Irsay in the media. Well, that was our issue. No, the issue is your roster is not good enough to compete at a high level in this league. You weren't good enough to make the playoffs last year. Your fix was to bring in Matt Ryan. That, like you said, does anybody in that locker room really think that's an upgrade? And I got bullied into it. I'm going to say I was wrong. I got bullied into it, and I'm mad at myself for getting bullied into it by saying, hey, I think Ryan might be an upgrade. When deep down, I fucking knew it wasn't. But I said it, right? And now I'm looking at it. It's not like Carson Wentz has been great for the Commanders. It's not like he's been good for the Commanders. He's been bad for him. Better. I don't think he would have been as bad as what we're watching with Matt Ryan and the Colts. And I think that's where it starts. Can the Colts build on this? Sure. But it looks like Frank Reich knows that if this thing goes wrong, he's going to be fired. It looks like he doesn't have any belief in this roster anymore. And I think he knows he's kind of a dead man walking there. I don't even know if there's any energy or life in that locker room. And now I could be wrong, but I don't know if they can build on this. And I don't know if they have the people in place to build upon it.
It's going to be 15 play laboring drives. It's like the only way that this offense can score consistently. And if that's your way to score, you better be perfect. You cannot make mistakes in those 15 plays. Matt Ryan will make a mistake once every 5. It's a systemic thing in Indianapolis, like you were saying. But this is now 2 years in a row. We've heard all this stuff at press conferences. Well, watch out for this guy this year. Watch out for this guy this year. And then they don't scheme him into the game plan. What's the point? Well, I mean, it's just bad football. But next week we get the Commanders and the Bears. I think the NFL just said, "Oh, you want to buy the Thursday night games to Jeff Bezos?" They said, "Here's a pile of shit." They all suck.
Here you go. Oh, even bad. Updated standings: Jags at 2-2, Titans at 2-2, Colts now at 2-2-1, Texans at 0-3-1. Obviously, the Jaguars, they are facing off against the Texans this week. Titans face the Commanders. So potential, somebody can take the lead here if something goes awry. Odds suggest that the Jags will be leading this division. Now, once these odds come out for the AFC South, I think it's going to be wise to buy a Jags ticket.
Got to.
Especially if you're holding a Colts ticket like us. I think you got to buy off that position. I don't think the Titans are going to have enough gas in the tank, but I mean, at the same time, Vrabel's a really good coach. If he works this miracle, you got to give him his props here. I think it's wise, and it may be minus money, but I think you got to buy out of this ticket. I just don't see it with the Colts.
They suck. They're mad at us, man. We knew they were going to suck too. That's the thing, but we just thought everyone else was going to suck a little bit more.
Exactly. I thought we're going to get some free wins in that division. Well, they're 0-2 in the AFC South, so that's a good start for us.
Well, they got a tie.
They got it. Well, they lost 0-2-1. Yeah, you're right. All right, let's get into money-making time. Let's see what we like this weekend.
Hey, we got a victory lap real fast. We're 9-1 in our last 10.
Why don't you do it? Why don't you do it?
Well, we've been telling you guys about the chalkboard. Been saying hop in there with us. We've been giving out player prop picks. 9-1 in our last 10 on the props there. So bankroll is just keep adding up here, and that's what we're trying to do tonight. No sweat. Sometimes we got to wait till the last play of the game. We got to hope for an OT, but tonight we were done by middle of the third quarter, and we just kept moving.
It was great, man. Alec Pierce over. Follow us on our social medias. It's been running. We need you guys to join us. It's been a fun time in there too, messing around, just having a good time. So definitely join that chalkboard. Link is in the bio on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple. Okay, we have another London game, 9:30 Eastern. It's a little early for you out there, Tyson. 7:30. You getting up and watching Giants?
Sucks.
You watching Giants Packers?
I mean, I got up and watched Vikings Saints, and I was looking forward to that one less. So okay. I'll be up, but I won't be with it.
Okay. Well, do you have a play on this? Packers are 8-point favorites. Over under is 41.5.
No, I don't. I don't have an official play on this one. I can't. The Giants are gonna kind of hang around, I think, and the Packers haven't been great at putting people away. It's just going to be one of those things. They got to fly 12 hours or however long it is to get to London, and then you're not allowed to go out when you're in London, and they're going to go play football and then have to go back home. Like nobody, Rasul Douglas said it today. He's like, I don't want to fucking go to London. I can't blame him.
Yeah, it may focus up the Packers a bit, right? You know, they come in, there's not much to do. You know, they got to focus on the game. That may help, but I don't have a play on this either. My first official play is on this next one. Seahawks go into New Orleans. New Orleans is a 5.5-point favorites here. I'm going to take Saints minus 5.5. And here's my angle on it. I think Jameis is going to play this week. So not playing last week, you know, he did the flight, but not having to play, I think that actually helps him recover a bit. Now, he's still got broken bones in his back, which doesn't help. But Kamara's going to play. They say he looks healthy. That's the rumor. Michael Thomas being out, yeah, that'd be a big deal 3 years ago. Olave's coming his own. I think Jarvis Landry's figuring out this offense a little bit, and he may be a little bit more of a weapon here. But my angle is really on the Seahawks. They're a top or a bottom 3 defense in the NFL. And when they played a legit defense in the 49ers, they scored 0 offensive points. I don't think the Saints are elite like what they used to be, but they're still above average. And the Seahawks haven't played a great defense this year. I think this is a step up in class for the Seahawks, especially going on the road into New Orleans. And I think the Saints win by a touchdown. Do you have anything on this game?
I'm leaning towards an under, but I'm not going to play it for sure yet. But nobody's scoring, dude. These teams suck.
Here's the biggest spread of the weekend. Steelers go up to Buffalo for a revenge game of week 1 last year when the Steelers beat the Bills. Bills minus 14 at home. Are you touching this one?
The 14's too much. It's just too much for anybody. Like, you give me the 07 Patriots against somebody, 14 just feels like a lot.
Bears at Vikings. Vikings minus 7.5. They are coming back from England. Normally there's a bye after this. So 2 teams coming out of England playing week after, which we haven't seen too much. Are you playing anything on this one?
Waiting for those Justin Fields pass props to come out so I can hammer another under. Bet 1 over, and it was at 170 or 160 or whatever it was last week. But we're going to get that juice back, and there's no way he's hitting 200.
How about this one? Texans, Jags. Texans go into face Jacksonville, like we mentioned. Line is Jags minus 7. Over under is 43.5.
I have Jags minus 7 in this one, and that's an official play, one that I will be playing this weekend. They're just better. And I think the last week kind of soured a lot of people on Jacksonville versus what happened the first 2 weeks of the year. They're not a bad football team. Actually, according to the DVOA, they were the best team in the league going into last week. Obviously, playing in a downpour of rain doesn't quite help those rankings, especially when the Eagles were able to run for 220 or whatever it is. Jacksonville's just way better. I think Houston hasn't been the Texans team that was fun last year, how they were kind of hanging around. They've been in some games with bad teams, but they fucked it up every time. And I don't think the Jaguars are a bad team. I think they roll.
I like over 43.5 in this one. Mainly, I think the Jags are going to score on the Texans. And I don't think the Jags have a great defense. I think the Texans may be able to put up some points, maybe 14 or so, 21 maybe. And I think the Jags can roll on offense. So I'm going to take the over 43.5 as an official play for me here. Now, interesting divisional matchup. Dolphins travel to New York to face the Jets. Spread is now Dolphins minus 3 on the road. This is coming down from a 3.5-point spread. Over under sitting at 45.5. Any play you like here?
Well, we told people last week, we got to give them a week before I'm playing anything on the Miami Dolphins. I got to watch Teddy Bridgewater play, see what that offense is going to look like. If anything, this is one where you bet on a defense scoring a touchdown. I think Miami's defense probably gets a takeaway here. But no, I'm not touching this. Look for Corey Davis to keep whatever the fuck he's doing. It's working. Look for Corey Davis to have another day.
I think Elijah Moore might have a big day too. With
I've been
Zach
thinking
Wilson
that for 5 weeks, man. It still hasn't happened.
Yeah, all right one last week. He's been in the rhythm.
3 for 53.
Yeah, exactly. Falcons go into Tampa. Spread Bucks minus 10 coming off their defeat on Sunday Night Football. Over under 46.5. Are you playing anything here?
This feels like a classic. I want to talk myself into Tom Brady revenge game, but then you just kind of remember the Falcons they're playing with folks. They're around. So this to me is, do the Bucks look better than whatever that was last weekend? Does Mike Evans keep it rolling? And can Atlanta keep it close? I don't think so. But 10's pretty rich. I might have to tease that down.
Yeah, I have this in a teaser. I actually have the Packers and the Bucks in a teaser to just get it under 3. If this goes down to 9.5, I'm going to be all over the Bucks. 10, I don't want to push on something regarding that line. If it, like I said, if it gets under, and I think it will, I think the public's going to hammer the Falcons, right? Bucks look so bad against the Chiefs.
Tom
Oh, the
Brady's getting
Falcons.
divorced.
Yeah, Falcons are 4-0 against the spread. Well, yeah, if you're 4-0 against the spread, historically, the teams the next week are 17-1 against the spread. I'm going to bet on Brady in that situation. I think their defense is a lot better than they've shown. And I think this offense is starting to figure it out. And I think they're going to put up points against the Falcons, potentially might look into a team total over, but no official play yet. That's going to be something in the chalkboard if it gets to the number I like. Lions going up to New England. New England 3.5-point favorites, over under at 45.5. I think Mac Jones might play. If not, it's going to be Bailey Zappi.
It is going to be Bailey. I think that came out today.
Okay, perfect.
And not only for that reason, but this has been my play of the week since this line came out. Lions plus 3.5.
Ooh.
Patriots suck. Don't get yourself fooled over what happened last week, and they were playing with Aaron Rodgers. That was always going to happen. That didn't matter who was playing quarterback. Bill Belichick was going to go in that game, play with Aaron Rodgers, because, again, the Packers can't put teams away. So they're going to hang around. The Lions are going to score points. This Patriots defense isn't as good as it's looked so far, in my opinion. I guess we'll find out. Now they're kind of stacking some games up, making me question myself a bit. The Lions scored a ton of points. That's what they do, and the defense sucks. There's not a whole lot of better get back or get right games than Bailey Zappi on an NFL schedule.
I don't have a play on this one. Potentially looking at the over, although I think the secret's out about the Lions and the over. So I think there may be value on the under, especially at 45.5, kind of that key number in the NFL for totals. Titans at Commanders. Titans are 2.5-point road favorites. Over under sitting at 42.5. Is this a play for you at all?
This is another underlean that I have going.
Okay.
I just don't think there's a whole lot of offense to be played between these two teams. It's the Derrick Henry show on one side of the ball, and then the best news to come out of Commanders camp is Brian Robinson is back practicing. Right, Jahan Dotson's hurt. Antonio Gibson's essentially disappeared. J.D. McKissick is washed. Carson Wentz started the season like a monster. Now he looks like Carson Wentz again.
Yep.
I just don't think a lot of points are being scored here.
If I'm going to play this, I want 3 with the Commanders, and we got tricked last week in Dallas, but this is at home. Titans, I think they're starting to come back to kind of like that sell high point for the Titans. I don't think that's a good team still. Commanders, too. This might be the biggest buy low spot you can get. Line open at 2.5, stayed at 2.5. If it gets to 2, I might even play that because there's some big time sharp money coming in on there. So that may be a play. And if that happens, I'll just play Commanders money line. Screw it. But nothing official for me here. Another interesting one here. Chargers going to Cleveland in a 1:00 early slate. Chargers 2.5-point road favorites. Over under at 47.5. Anything you like here?
I still don't know what either one of these teams are. I'm still not sure. I was surprised by the Browns for the first couple weeks of the season, and they look closer to what I expected here, going back to that Thursday night, whatever the fuck against the Steelers to where they're at now. The Chargers look like they figured it out, but this is going to be interesting. I don't know if either of these teams are good.
I'm going to take Browns plus 2.5 in this one.
I think that's a definitive answer that you don't think the Chargers are good.
I think this is a bad matchup for them more than anything. What do the Browns want to do? They want to run the ball. What can the Chargers not stop? A rushing attack. I think the Browns might have the best running back in the NFL so far. They're just going to want to pound this thing. If Jacoby Brissett throws it 15 times, I think Stefanski's happy if they just keep the ball on the ground with Hunt and Chubb. I don't know. I just think this is a bad matchup. And sure, the Chargers may put up points, but I think Jadeveon Clowney's back and Myles Garrett's playing against an offensive line that's big time question marks for the Chargers. Now it's Rashawn Slater's out. This may be a big win for the Browns, and you're giving me 2.5 at home. Open 2.5, stayed at 2.5. I like the Browns plus 2.5 here in this one. Niners go into Carolina. They are 6.5-point road favorites coming off that big win over the Rams. Interesting line here. What are you doing here, if anything?
Absolutely nothing. At 6.5, the Panthers have been kind of shitted on, rightfully so. They've looked pretty much atrocious for a lot of the stretch of the season, but they do some things well, and they might be able to just kind of hang around. And that's why I don't want any part of this. The Niners should blow the doors off them as far as physicality goes. It kind of seems like a Niners day, but it's almost like there's just going to be something fucky that happens in this game. I just know it. Niners coming off an emotional win. Granted, they kind of kicked the shit out of the Rams in the regular season. We've talked about that a handful of times. Debo Samuel, monster. George Kittle, left tackle. Like, what are we supposed to make out of this offense? Is Tyrion Davis-Price going to play? And if so, how do you kind of factor your third-round pick back into this backup running back rotation? There's a lot of questions for the Niners that I wasn't able to answer in the Rams game.
I'm not playing anything here. I honestly think I might play Carolina in a gross one if they get up to 7. I don't know why. It's a bad matchup. You know, they might just terrorize this offensive line for the Panthers with that front for San Francisco. But I don't know. That line is just screaming something interesting to me. So if it gets up to 7, I may play it, but I'm not going to touch it at 6.5. That underhook is, yeah. All right. Eagles at Cardinals. Eagles are 5.5-point road favorites. Now, Tyson, this is my play of the week. I'm taking Cardinals plus 5.5 here. Now, it's strictly a spot play. Eagles, a huge emotional win at home.
You're
in the
hedging your
rain.
happiness.
Hey, beating Doug Peterson. He's coming back as a big fired up game. Now you got to go out west, play the Cardinals team, who's, I think, starting to figure it out a little bit on offense. Also, next week, Eagles play the Cowboys. Maybe a little look ahead spot here. I think they still win, but I think this might be a field goal game. I'm going to take the points at home with the Cardinals.
So here's one that I am all the way against you on, all the way through. I have Eagles minus 5.5, and I never play Philly. Never, ever. That's like one of my things. But the one that I'm most confident in is Eagles first half spread minus 3.5.
Okay.
The Cardinals have been slow starters so far this year, and the Eagles kind of used that first quarter as a feeling out period, and they're killing everybody in the second quarter. Eagles first half points, 13.5. I think that's an over as well. I think the Eagles come out and jump all over the Cardinals, and Kyler and the boys do what they do and don't respond.
Interesting. So you're kind of playing a 3-way here. So Eagles minus 5.5, Eagles first half minus 3.5. Is that the number, right?
It is.
And then their team total over 13.5 in the first half as well.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's I mean, I like their first half team total. I do. I'm wondering if they take the foot off the gas and can get backdoored a little bit in the second half. We'll see. I don't know. Cowboys at Rams. Rams are minus 5.5. Oh man, that's a weird line to me. Are you playing anything here?
No. These. What are the Rams? Do we know? What are the Cowboys?
Cooper Rush, man. This might be I'll tell you what. This is a sell high spot, if anything, on the Cowboys, though. I mean, my goodness.
I saw Mike Greenberg had Cooper Rush as an NFL MVP to this point in the season.
There we go.
I mean,
I'm telling you, sell high.
The love is going nuts right now.
You know, and Dallas is 0-3, or McVay's on the feet against Cowboys 3-0. Dallas, I think, is 0-2 out in LA since McVay's been out there. That's an interesting angle, I think, a little bit. I think different. Garrett was coach there, and I want to say McCarthy was there in 2020, right? This is his third year.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Sean McVay is 3-0 against 2 below average NFL head coaches.
Yes. Yeah. Putting it that way. Yeah. I don't know. I'm leaning Rams. I don't have a play on it yet. I'm hoping this thing comes down a little bit so I can play them. I think it may honestly just stay at this 5.5 number as we get to Sunday. But if it creeps down any lower, I'm going to have a play on the Rams. I think I'm not all the way sold on that. Sunday night game. Bengals at Ravens. Ravens are minus 3.5 at home. This jump the 3 line here. Anything you're doing here? Oh, over under 47.5. I'd be remiss if I didn't add that in.
When I look at this, everything in my body tells me Ravens minus 3.5. It's
that
just
hook, man.
It's hard to get in the head to that spot. I think the Ravens are better. The Ravens have trailed for like 17 seconds this season. They're 2-2.
Insane.
Like that's nuts. They're a really, really good football team. The Bengals haven't looked great last week, obviously. With a win on Thursday night, they look a little bit better, but it wasn't exactly a great showing for them. It sounds like they're going to get Jamar Chase more in the slot. This is one, obviously, we'll have our player prop pick on it, but this is one where I'm going to have to see where player lines settle at.
I'm interested to see, because last year Burrows and the Bengals absolutely shredded up the Ravens, right? I mean, they put up gaudy numbers on them. But Wink Martindale's gone, and he likes the blitz. And Joe Burrow's great against the blitz. And I don't think is going to face too many blitzes against this Ravens team. I think they remember what happened to him last year. Now, let's not forget, though, Burrow put the stake in their heart with like that 60-yard bomb for no reason. And what we know about Harbaugh is he's a son of a bitch, man. He remembers that. So I'm like, if it was 3, I may play Ravens. This hook is just too much for me to play, though.
Part of the reason this hook sucks is because Harbaugh's shown over and over this year that he won't kick field goals. He's just gonna
Right.
he's just gonna go for it. So we need all the touchdowns, and that makes it harder to bet these things at half numbers.
Monday Night Football, Las Vegas Raiders at Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs are now 7.5-point favorites on FanDuel. Over under 51.5. Just a huge number there, by the way.
It's giant. And I'm looking at this and I'm thinking the Chiefs in the kingdom are going to score 40 points on the Raiders. And that number feels a little bit more appropriate. And that number starts to feel a little bit small. It's massive when you look at it here. But then when you start going through it, Derek Carr, traditionally, with non-Josh McDaniels offenses, has played really, really well against the Chiefs. I'm waiting to see. This is one I'm leaning towards the over, and it feels gross. But I really do think the Chiefs can score 40 points.
God, man, it feels like I need to take the Raiders here at plus 7.5. Coming out of that Tampa win, geez, can it get even higher than that? I don't know. Gee, I don't want to touch it. I'm not taking anything right now. If it gets to Monday and there's still this, I might just have to do it and take the Raiders. But again, the Chiefs just obliterate the Raiders. So
best team in the league.
God, man, it's tough. It is tough. All right, well, that's going to do it for Money Making Time. We got our official plays. Join the chalkboard, like Tyson said. We are on a roll with these player props. We already have, if you haven't listened to our college show, some early picks in there. We're going to have everything out. We have Friday games for college.
Quinn Ewers is playing.
Quinn Ewers is in. So Tyson's team total is looking a little better for Texas right now, I think. I'm going to have to jump on that. I think I got to the party a little late, though.
And Max Johnson broke a bone in his arm, so that team total for A&M looks better and better by the day, too.
Let's go, dude. That's good. You got to get on these early. You got to listen to our shows. So with that being said, you got to like, subscribe, and share our show so you can get on it. I mean, subscribe for sure so you can get these notifications when we have a new show. We're doing 3 a week now. NFL 2, college 1, breaking everything down and getting you ready for the weekend. And the NFL reactions. And obviously these shows you're listening to, we're going to give out our early picks. Chalkboard is where we release the rest of them. Team totals, props we're playing, all of that good stuff. Share it out. Follow us on our social media pages, Instagram and TikTok @ the roundtable pod _ Twitter @ TRT _ pod. Tyson, anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Victor Wembanyama is an alien.
That kid is good.
I mean, what the hell is that dude? Like, what? 7'4", moving like that, hitting threes from the hash? What are we talking about? You can't even create a guy this good in 2K.
Baseball playoffs start tomorrow, and you're going to love this, Tyson. I was hiding it for the entire time. There we go.
Yes.
Here we go. I like Mets to beat the Padres. Another reason why you got to get in our chalkboard and release all of our series picks. So make sure to add into that. We appreciate you guys listening as always. Until next time, peace.